This is a recording for how to do Thursday's homework, practicing for tomorrow's quiz. Please make sure you're doing these first, trying them first on your own, and just using this as a way to check or to help you. Okay, so let's start with the first one. I'm going to take this to the 6th power, so that's 1, 6, 15, 20. I'll go down to the next line, 15, 6, 1. I start with x to the 6th and decrease. And then I do -5, increasing. The first one doesn't have one. This is to the 1st power. -5 to the 2nd. -5 to the 3rd. -5 to the 4th. -5 to the 5th. -5 to the 6th. So let's go ahead and simplify this. I have x to the 6th minus 30x to the 5th. That's 6 times -5. And then I would have 25 times 15. This is a positive 25 because it's a negative to an even power. So 25 times 15 is 375. You're going to see today some of these numbers get bigger than the ones we've seen so far. This would be a negative 125 times 20. That's negative 2500 x to the 3rd. And here I have -5 to the 4th power, which is 625, and that's a positive because it's to an even power, times 15. And it gives me 9,375 x squared. And then I would end up with -5 to the 5th. Again, this is going to be negative, but it's 3,125 times 6. And I have a negative 18,750 x. And then -5 to the 6th, which is going to be positive because it's raised to an even power, gives me a positive 15,625. Okay. You can also do this in your calculator where, like on this term right here, I'm taking 15, and then make sure you say times, and then in parentheses, -5 to the 4th. It will get you right to that answer. Just make sure you're putting it into the calculator right. If you're going to do it that way, make sure order of operations is being followed. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead then to the second one. So what I have here is to the 4th power. So here's my coefficients. And then I'm going to take 2x to the 4th, 2x to the 5th, 2x, not to the 5th, to the 3rd, 2x squared, 2x to the 1st. We're decreasing in exponents. And then I'm going to take 7, and there's nothing in the first term but 7 to the 1st, and 7 to the 2nd, 7 to the 3rd, and 7 to the 4th. So 2 to the 4th is 16, so it's 16x to the 4th. Plus, here I would have 4 times 8 times 7, and that gives me 224 x to the 3rd. And here I'm going to have 6 times 2 squared is 4, times 7 squared, which is 49. And that gives me 1,176 x squared. And then here I'll have 4, 2 to the 1st is 2, 7 to the 3rd power is 343. Should be recognizing that number from those lists we learned back in Thanksgiving. Hopefully. But anyways, that gives me 2,744 x. And then lastly, 7 to the 4th power, and that's 2,401. Okay, so let's come down here for number 3. So I'm going to set it up to the 5th power. So 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. And I'm just spreading it out and make sure I have plenty of room. And I'm going to take 3x to the 5th, and then 3x to the 4th, and then 3x to the 3rd, and 3x squared, and 3x to the 1st, and then it's going to be -4. And there's nothing in the first term but -4 to the 1st, starts at the 2nd term, -4 squared, -4 to the 3rd, -4 to the 4th, -4 to the 5th. All right, so we're going to start with 3 to the 5th in that first term. So that's 243 x to the 5th, plus in this term I have 5 times 3 to the 4th, which is 81, times negative 4 to the 1st, which is negative 4. Want your signs here, okay? So we're multiplying by negative 4, so that's going to make this a minus. Oop, I already wrote my plus, that was silly. Minus 1620 x to the 4th, and then I would have 10 times 27 times 16. It's a positive 16 because negative 4 is being raised to an even power, being squared. And that gives me positive 4,320 x to the 3rd. And here I would have 10 times 9, 3 squared. And then negative 4 to the 3rd, which is, and again, I'm raising this to an odd power, so it's a negative 64. And that's going to give me a minus 5,760x squared. And here I have 5 times 3 to the 1st, which is just 3, and then 4 to the 4th, which is 256. And so that would give me 3,840x. And then this one's being raised to the 5th, so it's going to be minus, and it's just 4 to the 5th, but it's going to be a minus because it's being raised to an odd exponent, 1,024. Okay, I'm going to clear all this out so I have room for my last one. Of course, you could have paused it to see that, or go back a little bit and pause. And then this last, oh, I erased my thing. This last one, I did change this to 3 on the document, so let me go ahead and change that back to 3. And we're doing this to the 7th, so this is like one of the ones from the earlier days, just to practice the basics again. So 1, 7, 21, 35, 'Straight mark there. 35, 21, 7, 1. And you can develop that from Pascal's triangle. Actually, just look back at this one because this is the one that had 6 on it. So just use the numbers from 6 to produce the ones for 7. And then I'm going to go x to the 7th, x to the 6th. And I don't have anything with x here, so that makes this definitely easier than the last 2 that we just did. And then I have, and 3 is positive. So again, this is actually an easier one. I saved an easier one for last. 3 to the 3rd, 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 5th, making sure each pair of exponents adds up to 7, so you know you have it lined up correctly. And then we'll clean this up. X to the 7th plus 7 times 3 is 21, x to the 6th. And then 21 times 9, because that's 3 squared, is 189, x to the 5th. And then I have 35 times 3 to the 3rd is 27. So 27 times 35, which is 945, x to the 4th. And then I have 35 times 3 to the 4th. And 3 to the 4th power is 81 times 35 is 2,835. And here I have 3 to the 5th power. Okay, so we're raising to the 5th is 243 times 21. And that's 5,103 x squared. Oh, I forgot my x to the 3rd in there. There we go. And then I have 3 to the 6th, which is 729. And that gets multiplied by 7. We don't want to write 729 there, do we? I'm trying to rush through this to keep this video as short as possible. 5,103x, and then 3 to the 7th power, which is 2,187. And there's your final answer.